Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
Cash One Pawn, Missoula's #1 pawn shop.
You want money? We got money. You need money? We got money. We're cash.
Do yourself a favor and make Cash One Pawn part of your online shopping habits. Cash One Pawn has an awesome online inventory, everything from firearms to power tools to speaker equipment to jewelry. Visit Cash One Pawn today.
Cash One Pawn.
8720 Roller Coaster Road, CashOnePawn.com.
We've been talking about doing this for a while, but now we're actually doing it. Ben Wineman joining us here on Nuanez Now. It's our ESPN Roundtable for the week, and we're going to talk all things sports with a man who is a recovering sports reporter and anchor. He actually just happens to be the man over there at Nonstop Local, ABC Fox Montana, KTMF in Missoula. Ben, thanks for being here, buddy. How you doing?
I'm good. Don't say that I'm the man, because I know Sean Rainey listens to this. And he would probably say that he is the man.
Sean is definitely the man.
The other thing that Sean would say was that I was his #2 sports guy for about 2.5 years. I went over to the dark side of news. So now this is my chance to kind of dip my toes into the waters and talk about something that's a lot more fun than what I have to do on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, Sean has to just get over that the Padres lost and the Dodgers are going to win the World Series, and it's okay. It's okay.
He's rooting for the Dodgers, to be clear. He's rooting because he wants things to change in baseball. He
tweeted no less than 100 times over the last 2 days about the Dodgers and why they ruined baseball, but then subsequently why he's then going for them so that everybody else can see it. It is quite a manifesto that he has produced on the Twitter machine. It's awesome. It's hilarious. I love watching it.
Sean Rainey always has convictions.
Indeed. Well, first tell people about that part. What's it been like for you being in news? Do you ever miss doing the sports reporting?
Ooh. It's a great question. Some days, yes. Some days there are moments where I'm like, God, that would have been fun to cover. Or there's a story that it would have been really cool to put together. And then I get to go to watch it. My wife and I are season ticket holders, and we get to go to the game, and I have a drink in my hand, and I can yell and scream and cheer, and I don't have to worry about lugging a camera. And I see you guys running up and down the sidelines, and I'm just chilling in my seat. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is good. This is good. So I get my weekends back, so yeah, every now and again, I'm like, do I really want to talk to, politician X who's going to completely BS me the whole time and lie to my face? Or I'd rather talk about the Griz wide receiver core. Some of those days that kind of goes through my mind some days, but I really like what I do, and it's fun still. News is really fun sometimes. And the cool thing about our company, Nonstop Local, with Sean and everyone, is I can still do a lot. We do a lot of sports because Montanans love sports. The Griz and the Cats are the things in the state. So I've been able to go to Frisco basically the last 2 years, in 2024 with the Cats and 23 with the Griz. So that was fun to kind of dip my toes in those sports waters and get to talk ball with Sean on the air and stuff, and get to do stuff like this with you. So yeah, I definitely miss it sometimes, but it's nice to be in Washington Grizzly on a Saturday and not have to work.
No doubt. I know. I always feel that way too, because Kyle Sambu is one of my good buddies and has contributed on our channels for over the years. He's a recovered sports writer too, and every Saturday he calls me, said, "Come to my house. I'm having a pregame party." I'm like, "Dude, I just can't. I'm sorry." And he's like, "I know. I just have to rub it in that I can." And I'm like, "Thanks, buddy. Thanks for letting me know." But has it sort of galvanized you in any way, being able to go back to your fandom? Because we have to sort of feign these objectivities in our roles as reporters.
Sure.
That's probably way more important in real reporting like you do than it is in the sports world. But you also don't want to be the guy that's the homer and biased and the mouthpiece for the programs and stuff like that. But you don't have to do that anymore. You can just go to a Griz game and cheer them on, and you can do these other things. So is that sort of empowered your fandom?
I definitely, I think about it in terms of like Republicans and Democrats. Like if you watch the newscast, you're never going to know what I believe personally, politically, because that's not my job, right? My job is to present right down the middle, and both sides, and let everyone have a voice, and then let you, the audience, make the decision. With the Cats and the Griz, which are kind of Republicans and Democrats in a way, I think it actually probably benefits me to the audience more if they know that I'm a Griz fan. They know that I root for Montana. My wife and I are season ticket. My entire existence as a human being is I owe to the University of Montana. My parents met their freshman year. So my wife has multiple degrees from Missoula, so it's like the Wineman family is fully Griz. But I'm still going to support the Cats. Maybe not that 1 week a year, but I'm still going to support the Cats and hope that the Montana boys do well. So I think it's important for the audience. I think that probably makes me a little bit more approachable and more normal in a way, put air quotes around that. I have enjoyed, though, being able to let people like you and Sean and all the media folks kind of, I get to like still be in your guys' orbit, because I know you all and I have relationships with you all, personally and professionally. I mean, Colter, you were at my bachelor party, like, so like we have, so I get to still kind of dip my toes in there and complain as a fan. And then I let you guys handle the big J journalism. And that's a pretty nice place to be for me.
Yeah, good balance. Ben Wineman here on Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. So we got to get the heartbreak out of the way then. You are as big of a Seattle Mariners fan as I know, and one of the biggest in all of Western Montana, certainly. And it's funny because you had a lot of people that were on your side on Monday night. There's a lot of people that maybe don't have any affiliation or affinity for the Mariners that were rooting on Seattle, myself included. And honestly, when George Springer came up to bat with two guys on, I was like, this is going to be it. This is how it's going to end, isn't it? And then, of course, that's exactly how it ended. So sorry for your loss, man. But what a ride for you guys. It's been a long time coming for the Mariners.
I was in first grade the last time they made the ALCS. I was in first grade, and my daughter is 3 or 4 years away from being in first grade now. So it's like, that's how long it has been. I think now, 48 hours removed, I'm sad, but I'm slowly getting to more like appreciative of what we just witnessed, because the season was just incredible. It was just an absolutely incredible season. The best baseball season that I've ever experienced as a fan, which is maybe not saying a ton, but I mean, watching Cal and Julio and just the momentum in the city. I definitely knew, I kind of realized that overall as a franchise, the Seattle Mariners have not been good enough to have a heartbreaking moment like they experienced on Monday night, which is kind of crazy to think, but like, we don't have our Aaron Boone Red Sox. We don't have our Bill Buckner. We don't have, we don't have a home run in the ninth inning to kill our season, because we've just never been in this position before. So it makes me a little, it warms my heart that we were even in a position to get beat like that. It says a lot about the team, but I don't know. I on Monday morning, I hiked Blue Mountain in Missoula, and I was wearing my Mariners hat. I kid you not, Colter, I had like 5 different people stop me on the trail and be like, "Hey, Ems, you guys going to do it tonight?" And so that was cool. Like for me to be a Mariners fan here in Montana. And I really feel the last like month or so that like Western Montana, which is technically in the Mariners DNA in Seattle, is a huge baseball community. And we love the Mariners, and the Mariners love Western Montana too. So sad, definitely sad. I was despondent on Monday night, and it would have been cool to make a World Series, but the overall tough part for me is it's baseball. So it's like, it's so hard to get there. Yeah. That nothing is guaranteed. Like if you have a good football team, like you're going to probably most likely be back every year, or at least have a shot at it. Baseball is so random and wacky that like they could have a better season and still not make the ALCS next year. And so that's what's kind of, making me sad today, that nothing's guaranteed.
Meeting her stopped your world. The ring you give her should stop her heart.
Tina, will you marry me?
Not again! Don't worry, I'm gonna fix this, because we want to be your jeweler on our beautiful diamond! Clear! Got Come back to me, Tina!
Are you okay?
Thanks so much for listening to our Big Sky Breakdown podcast series and for tuning into our Skyline Sports YouTube channel. If you have not, please rate, review, and subscribe. Particularly subscribe. Click on the subscribe button. That helps us out a ton. Thanks to our great partners who help make all of this content possible, including Ty Hobbs at Keller Williams Real Estate. Ty's a great friend of mine, guy I lift weights with in the mornings, and a guy I golf with as much as I can, but he's also an ace realtor. I did not choose him as my realtor because he's my friend, although that was a big perk. He is excellent when it comes to everything from efficiency to negotiation to no frills, no BS. He got our house on the market and got it sold in less than 24 hours, more like 4 hours. It was an impressive turnaround. He got us exactly the contract that we wanted. We needed to stay in our house for a couple months because we had a new build coming up. He negotiated that flawlessly. The negotiation part is the number one reason why we chose Ty, but he also has a great acumen when it comes to construction, building, remodels. We had a flood in our house that I needed help with repairing. Boom. He helped me out. Awesome service, awesome job. And if you're in the market for a realtor, Ty Hobbs is your guy. Let's hear more about the current real estate market from the man himself. So let's start with, how would you characterize the real estate market currently in both Missoula and Western Montana?
Well, currently in Missoula, we've seen a rise in inventory and buyer activity slow down a little bit. So it's turning more into a buyer's market, more than I've probably ever seen in the last 10 years or so.
So what does that mean, a buyer's market? How would you define that?
A buyer's market is really just means that there's more homes for sale than there are buyer demand. So buyers have choices, especially in negotiations.
And that means less leverage for somebody that's selling their house, more leverage for somebody that's trying to buy a house, correct?
Correct. More leverage for buyers.
Okay, so if you are a buyer and you hire you as your realtor, how do you go about then sort of taking advantage of that said advantage?
Well, right now you have the upper hand in negotiations, right? And first we start with the CMA and get a value and see where that price falls in, or where the value is for the buyers. And then there's other things that we can negotiate, such as like seller concessions to help buy down the interest rate or give you a temporary break or relief on an interest rate to help with that monthly payment. So
if people want to find out about that and other listings that you have, how do they find them?
Best way is just get a hold of me by phone, 406-544-9794.
On the upside, though, there's been some – you're right. I mean, Seattle has success has been fleeting, certainly. You had a couple of these iconic teams like the 95 Mariners, the 2001 Mariners. But they've also had some great storylines within the scope of just some average seasons. You know, I mean, the Ichiro phenomenon is like nothing baseball's really ever seen. When King Felix was at the height of his powers, but then everything that went with Felix Hernandez, you know, throwing a complete game once every couple of weeks and still coming out with losses sometimes because they couldn't hit back then. There's just a lot of things that go into it, but you have to think that Cal Raleigh was one of, if not the great stories that the Mariners have ever experienced, right? I mean, that'd be one of the coolest things for you to – I mean, I became a Mariners fan in August because I'm like, I gotta watch this. I've never seen a switch hitting catcher hit the ball like this. I'm gonna watch every night, right?
Join us. Yes. We very rarely, I think Seattle sports overall, we've always had great personalities. We've always had teams that can cut through the national media and like galvanize people, you know, and these athletes and figures. Cal is just the next person in that. And it was so cool this season to watch, like he's been basically for the last 2 seasons before the beginning of this year, he was the best catcher in baseball, easily. Best defender, he'd hit 30 home runs. Like he was the best catcher. We all knew that as Mariners fans. So to see him just basically double, triple his output and see the national baseball world fall in love with him. He won the home run derby. He's got the best nickname in baseball and Big Dumper. I've got my 2.5-year-old daughter is running around our house screaming Big Dumper. Like that's memories that I will never forget. And I'm good friends with Ryan Divish, who's the University of Montana alum. He's a Seattle Times beat writer for the Mariners, been there for 15 years. And so he and I have been chatting a lot the last month or so, especially. And every time Divish tells me how Cal is the man on the field, but off the field, he literally walks the walk. He is your perfect prototypical captain. He galvanizes that team. And he's so super nice dude. So as a baseball fan, it warms my heart to be like, okay, Cal Raleigh is going to be a Mariner Hall of Famer for sure. He might even be, if he keeps going, he might be an MLB Hall of Famer, and he'll do it as a Mariner, which is pretty special. And that's rare to watch that in person and witness history as it happens in front of you.
Ben Wineman here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. What else? I guess one last Mariners question.
Sure.
What, in your opinion, do they need to add if they are going to make another run at it? Because they got great pitching and they have a couple superstar hitters.
Yeah, that's so the thing about being a Mariners fan is that, which I think a lot of teams in baseball can agree with, is it all comes down to your ownership and how much ownership you spend. And my hope is that what happened on Monday night and watching Springer hit that home run, my hope is that Mariners ownership looks at that and goes, okay, that not be satisfied with that, not be satisfied with making an ALCS. Like the goal is the World Series. And so will they actually invest in the club in the off season instead of what they did this past season, where it's like, love that they brought in Gino, love that they brought in Josh Naylor, but that was like a trade deadline move. Like, let's bring those guys in so we have them for 3 months in April, May, and June. And then we actually can put ourselves in a better position. So you got to re-sign Josh Naylor. You just have to. He's the heartbeat of that team. He's a really good dude. He's young, at bat to ball contact. He's awesome. Good defender. And then I hope they bring in another bat and another bullpen arm. Those would be kind of my wish list. But as a Mariners fan, I'm like, not going to get my hopes up. Like, ownership, we had this happen in 22 when they broke the playoff drought. We beat the Blue Jays and we almost beat the Astros. And it's like, okay, here we go. Here's our moment. And then the ownership just dropped the ball and we did miss the playoffs the next 2 years. So my hope is that they see how this, like Seattle, it's hard for people to understand, but like, because the Seahawks have just had so much success and rightfully so. Seattle is a baseball town, number one. Like they love their Seahawks. They love the Huskies. They love the Sonics even, but like overall number one, Seattle is a baseball town. And so I hope the ownership sees that and acts like it this offseason.
Yeah, me too. This same thing happened to me as an Indians fan when they went to the World Series and lost in Game 7 to the Cubs. And then the next year they lost in the divisional round. And then they traded Francisco Lindor and Corey Kluber. And I just haven't really been that interested since. It was like, I don't really care about this anymore. If you guys have one of the greatest players in the game and you're just going to get rid of them because you don't want to spend money. Yeah, I saw I don't know if you saw this. There's the article on Shohei Ohtani and his earning powers.
Oh yeah,
basically that Dodgers have already made all the money back that they gave him. And so then I saw this on Twitter that was getting sent to the Mariners people saying like, you should have just done it because it wouldn't have costed you anything. It was just basically. Yeah, he's got so much star power. Man, imagine him in Seattle.
I really wanted to play. I did not want to play the Guardians now in the ALDS. Even though Tarek Skubal was on the Tigers and we beat him, ended up beating him twice. The Indians, you guys are a scrappy squad, and I did not want to face that type of baseball in the playoffs. So I'm glad you all lost.
Well, it's been a good fall up until that Game 7 loss, though, for you, especially when it comes to sitting in the stands and watching Grizzly Stadium. First of all, you got to do it 6 times in 7 weeks. So did you get any fan fatigue going to games 6 weeks out of 7 in a row? I definitely got college game day fatigue. By the 7th game, I was like, okay, we've done the same show 7 times in a row. I got to get out of here. But what did you think of just having all the home games stacked up?
I love going to Griz games. There is something to like, it's a lot. And they're all day experience, all day like events, right? And so we've got 2 young kids at home. We have got great grandparents that come and hang with the children. But so my wife and I get date days. But I'm obviously a huge listener of the Griz fan pod. Love when you join them as well. But Mike Nugent made a great comment on there a couple of weeks ago. He's like, these September games, we should have a Thursday game. We should have a Friday game, like throw some more night games in there. Like let people have their September Saturdays when the weather is still nice. And then when it gets into like October, November, then you can kind of start ramping it up. But we were looking at the schedule after the Sacred Heart game this last weekend. My wife and Ashley and I were like, okay, we're kind of glad we've only got 2 home games left. It's been a lot. It's fatiguing. The team's been good, and we've gotten some pretty good comebacks and crazy storylines. But we're glad that the team's on the road for the next couple of weeks.
Yo, Tara, what up, E?
What's going on?
Man, those are some nice medals.
Yeah, man, these are hard to come by.
Yeah, well, I've got 2 of them.
Well, that's nothing like going to March Madness, though.
We did go to a national championship.
Okay, guys, whatever. Let's just get on the Montana party bus and head over to Press Box for lunch.
Yeah.
Nuanez now and Skyline Sports, covering Montana athletics and the Big Sky Conference better than anybody. The Montana Party Bus and the Press Box are also proud supporters of Montana athletes.
Hey, cheers to you guys, man. Cheers to Montana. Cheers to chasing more champions.
Five Valleys Restoration, your view is our view. And what a beautiful view it is. We are proud to be locally owned, locally operated. We love our community here in Missoula and also the full 5 valleys that we do service. We give back to the community, we service our community. Our kids go to school here, we live here, we play here, and we love it.
What's the thing that you have most enjoyed and or that has impressed you the most about the Griz so far this year?
I think I've been really impressed. I honestly have been really impressed with like their offensive play calling and getting the ball into their skill players' hands. I think that has been such a theme the last couple of years where they have these incredible open field players and the offense just does not give them the ball. Like, you look at, Keelan White and Junior Bergen. I got to think they're looking at the last couple of weeks of Griz football and they're like, Junior Bergen's probably like, why can't I line up like Michael Wortham is and use all these cool like aerial post patterns and wildcats and like, so that's what I've been. Brent Pease has, I think, called it a really good season so far and put his players in the best position to succeed. It also helps when you have one quarterback and you're not yin-yanging between 2 dudes. I think for the whole team, not just for the quarterback, for the whole team, it's like, okay, great. Keely is our guy, and we don't have to worry about anyone else coming in and replacing him. So, yeah, we don't have to talk about the defense because, I'm a little nervous about Brawl the Wildy and that defense. But, it's been cool to see an aerial attack like the Griz have had. It's been a long time since they've had that.
It's very rare as somebody that analyzes and criticizes for a living for to have what you say needs to happen then actually happen. Like it didn't happen last year. Well, last year, all I was doing was screaming, saying they got to play one quarterback. That guy's got to be a yacht. And then they got to diversify their play calling and get their playmakers the ball. And so, yeah, I got to give credit where credit's due because guess what? They've done all that. They've leaned into one guy. They're much more creative offensively. And that's been a fun dynamic. On the other side, what concerns you about the Griz most? Is it the defense?
It's the defense for sure. I just think the line of scrimmage, basically the theme of the last Bobby 2.0 has been they just have not been able to develop O-lines and D-lines, dominant O-lines and D-lines. And, I was not I was a Griz fan my whole life, but I was not following the team as much in like the mid 2000s and early 2000s, 10s. And I hear you and Sean and all the Griz fan guys like talk about it. It's like those offensive lines and defensive lines were at the level like what North Dakota State is doing right now. And to not be able to develop that in Bobby's time, complete 2.0 time, I think has just been a huge disappointment. And probably will eventually hold them back. I think, I was thinking about this and maybe you can help me, work this through my mind. So I have this weird relationship with Montana State where I'm not maybe the normal prototypical Griz fan and how I think about Montana State, because all of my time being a huge Griz fan, basically from when I lived in Montana in 2016 to now, the Cats have been basically equal, maybe even better than Montana. So I've never had this like decade long, like little brother, big brother relationship with Montana State. I've always viewed them as an equal. I just find that like dynamic fascinating between the Griz fans and the Cats fans of like the Griz fans just like don't think about Montana State and Montana State is solely focused on beating the Griz. And I kind of want to like look around to my fellow Griz fans and I'm like, guys, they're like passing us in every single aspect of football program, university, like and we're all just kind of chill with it because we're Montana and this is how it's always been done. I find that dynamic fascinating that like, I feel like I'm kind of I'm like taking crazy pills. I'm like the only one realizing this. And I'm like, but everyone's like, no, we're the Griz. It's fine. Like, it's all good. It's like, no, we've not been like that for a decade. And this is now an equal relationship. This is not a little brother, big brother thing. it's a weird thing for me.
Join Town Pump's Pump It Up Rewards Plus program and never pay full price for fuel again.
Save 5 cents on every gallon every day at any Town Pump across Montana.
Plus, earn and redeem points on your favorite in-store items to get free stuff with our clubs.
Stop in and pick up a rewards card. Download the Pump It Up Rewards Plus app today.
Or visit townpump.com/rewards to register and start saving.
Right down the road, pump it up. Oh, yeah.
Being in this industry since I was in college, one of the things I think we take the most pride in is Aspen Sound's been such a presence in Missoula for almost 40 years. The cool parts about our job is people always ask us what we do for a living. And I sell fun, whether it's as simple as window tints all the way up to integrating a backup camera into the factory screen. I'm pretty excited about the options we can present.
It is so weird because Montana outpacing Montana State and everybody else in the Big Sky between basically 1995 and, let's say, basically the scandal and the firings and all that in 2011. Right. That is what made Montana State and everybody else get better. So it was an objectively good thing for everybody involved, including the Griz leading the pack, as well as everybody that was chasing them. Then this thing happened where Montana State did pull even. And then there was the year of the Bobcat that they had 2 years in a row that were unbelievable, and they were winning in everything from men's and women's basketball to tennis, and of course in football too. And it sort of flipped. But now I actually think that the opposite has happened. The fact that the Griz had this omnipresent attitude forever, and the Cats had this big brother envy forever. Now both of those dynamics hold both places back. Like the Cats will never have arrived until they stop doing the stupid eat blank Grizzlies go Cats go every single time that they chant, no matter if it's playing at Idaho State or Cal Poly or whatever. Same thing though, the Griz will never reascend until they realize, oh my gosh, we got to focus on beating these guys first. Like we can say we have all these great shiny toys in this cool stadium and all this stuff, but if you are still losing, first of all, just the enrollment battle, which I think is a very revealing dynamic. Yep. In the overall scope of the rivalry, it's not all just about football and basketball, but all of the things play. Like right now, there's like 10,000 more undergraduate students at Montana State than there is at Montana. That's a crazy number. And I think you got to acknowledge that. You have to acknowledge that is happening. You have to change your attitude to try to go. I hate to say catch Montana State because they passed you there. They're not lapping you, but they're in the lead right now. And so I mean, great job by the Cats to do that. And I think the Griz, you're right. They do need to have some awareness of what's happening and try to reassess. And the thing is too, Brooks and I talk about this all the time. We are critical of this so much because this is such a big deal to the people in the state of Montana, and they are both so great at so many different things, non-sports and sports included. We just want them to be the best and the best simultaneously, right? Both with upward momentum, because that's what's going to make both of them even better and maybe even ascend to the top of the mountain, especially when it comes to small school football.
It was the weirdest. I moved here. My first season covering the team was 2016, so I covered it 3 seasons, and then I moved to news. But I basically went the first 6 years of living full-time in Montana as a Montanan, not getting a Brawl of the Wild victory. And that was the weirdest, like strangest phenomenon to me of just like, I've never lived in this state. I basically lived the first 6 years in the state as the little brother in this relationship. And I felt a lot like I graduated from Washington State. Boy, is there some little brother syndrome there in Pullman, which I love my Cougs, but it's like, we are definitely the little brother in that UW, especially now. Oh God, especially now. But when you're the little brother, you start thinking weird things. And that's how I've kind of felt about the Griz the last 10 years. It's like, I'm the only one around me feeling like a little brother. And I feel like I'm right. I feel like I've been proven right, but that all, I guess, will get decided on the field in a month from now, but I'm nervous. Let's just say that I'm nervous about how that game's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's always gigantic ramifications, but I think this one has as bigger ramifications as there's ever been, not only because of the way the seasons are going, but also because there's so many of the powers that be in the FCS that have left. So now it's almost like it's a requirement to be a top 5 team in the country year in and year out, because who else is even trying, right? There's only about 9 teams that are trying. If you're Montana, you better be one of the top half of those 9, and same with Montana State, which they have been. And, then you have the coaching dynamics. Like, Bobby Houck has run roughshod over the Cats in his previous life, but he's 2-4 against the Cats now. And, one more loss, and you're talking about an even Stevens 500 record for Coach Houck, which I know that will not sit well for him at all. But then on the opposite side, you got Brent Vigen, who's won every game everywhere against everybody except for in Missoula. And that's been it's North Dakota State and Montana in Missoula are the 2 thorns in Brent Vigen's side. So I just think there's such crazy narratives coming into this game. It's like the ultimate rubber match. It's like this game 5. It's almost like a game 7 between these two.
Yeah, right. If you had to put percentage, one of those 2 teams makes it to Nashville, makes it to the national title game, like 40%. One of them will probably make it. I'm assuming if both win out, the winner of that game will get home field all the way through the semifinals.
Well, that's what it takes, is they both have to win out. Like, we are all dreaming of this collision course.
Sure.
You got to take care of business before that, though, right? Like, the Griz can't go lose at SAC this weekend. The Cats can't lose at home to UC Davis or any of the other games too, right? Like, that's the one that could really thwart you, is if you go screw around and lose at Portland State if you're the Griz or something, right? Or you lose at home to Northern Colorado or whatever if you're the Cats. Like, that's almost certainly not going to happen, but you can't let it happen, right? Because that's the doomsday scenario for Griz fans, is that they lose before the Cat Griz game and then they lose at home and they don't get a seed, or they get like a 7 seed. And they're trotting down to the Brookings again and same time, lose the same freaking team for the 4th year in a row or whatever. Yeah, and that's the part that has to just haunt you if you're the Cats, right? Your season has ended to North Dakota State every single year since 2018. Like, Troy Anderson quarterback year, I guess they lost in Brookings once. But other than that, like the Troy Anderson quarterback year in 2018, all the way through the national championship game last year, it's the same team that beats you. Like, that has to just haunt you, especially when you're an NDSU alum like Brent Vigen.
Oh, for sure. And it was very fun. It was fun to watch the Cats go on their run last year, but then also end that game in Frisco last year. We were on the field covering it, and then looking at Sean and being like, so if that Cat or Griz team can't beat the Bison, a downed Bison team, they're still good, but not the Bison teams. I think this team's better than last year. Is it ever going to happen? Is it ever going to happen? So I still think the Jackrabbits and the Bison are probably the 2 favorites, but we'll see. So this weekend's going to be a lot of fun. I'm hoping that game day. I'm kind of surprised game day did not go to Brookings, but maybe they're holding their FCS bullet for Missoula in a month. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
We will definitely see. We're up against it, but we should do this again sometime, because I got plenty more to get to with you. But thanks so much for being here today, buddy.
Thanks for having me, man. And always a pleasure. And love your guys' content, and going to be locked in the next month or so as we get up to the Montana Super Bowl.